Welcome back to season 2 of the Pregnant Bitches podcast.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're just a couple pregnant bitches navigating motherhood together.
Welcome back to Pregnant Bitches, everyone. We have a very special guest with us today, Marlie from Kale and Crunches. I feel like I know you already.
I feel like I know you
Welcome.
guys too.
How
Thank
long
you.
have you been following
I've been following you
years?
for years.
Yeah.
Both
Like
of us.
from YouTube.
Oh my God, don't even bring that
I
up. My failed YouTube
From
career.
YouTube all the way now to the kids. And then when I became pregnant, I was like,
Yeah.
you're my account. I'm going to follow you.
I love that.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome.
Coming
Thank
full
you.
circle.
Full circle.
So for our followers that maybe don't know you, maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay. How far back are we going?
Whatever.
How much time do you have?
From the day you were born.
The day I was
No.
born. No. Okay. So my name is Marlie Cohen. I go under the alias Kale and Crunches on Instagram. I am a mom of 2 girls. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And my content is really fitness and motherhood. I started Instagram while I was actually working a corporate job. And it's probably from like the days
Right,
you were following
right.
me.
Yeah, that's exactly when.
Oh,
that's what
I love.
remember.
Okay, so my account was like how to stay healthy in your 9-to-5 job, and this was before there was even stories, before reels,
Wow.
before videos,
You're
like dating.
OG Instagram.
I
20
love it.
influencer.
I love it.
Guys, 2015 is when
I
I
love
started
it.
my
Wow.
account.
That's
So I was
impressive.
sharing like a smoothie bowl here, a workout there, but I was working 9 to 5. So I was like, this is how I'm fitting in my workouts. And I really just became so passionate about health and fitness that I wanted it to be my job. I just didn't think it was possible. So I
Right.
was like, okay, how am I going to do this? I ended up getting certified in like personal training, spinning, becoming a health coach, all while I was working. And I gave myself like a year to figure it out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay in my corporate job, but I'm going to take clients before work, after work,
Love it.
like moonlight as a spin instructor. And my goal was to use Instagram to gain a following for personal training clients.
Yes.
Because this was really like the early days of
Right.
being an influencer, quote unquote, now like creator. And I started to get opportunities in that space. And I was like, wait, this could be more than the business plan. I
Right.
had never thought of social media on the business
Right.
plan. But really within that year that I gave myself, I was able to leave my job and take like fitness full time. And at the time, Instagram was changing. I think stories came about and I started to share more of like who I am, my personal life, and really took the account from like just being a trainer, just focusing on health and fitness, Kale and Crunches, to like what it's like to be, you know, getting married and then getting pregnant and
I love
having
it.
a
Whole
baby,
personal
and like
life.
completely changed my account. And I'm really grateful for the people like you that have stuck with me. as the
100%.
niche has changed.
100%.
And then it really all came full circle after I had my second daughter, where I brought it back to the health and fitness because I started my app called Bounce Forward, which is a health and fitness app for busy moms.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I felt like there was really a white space in the world of health and fitness that wasn't speaking to real moms. And like,
No,
I know
I-
we'll talk about
Yes. we
being
will.
real
100%.
moms today, but
And
that's sort of like the full circle.
I love that. And it's so funny you said that. So I was in fitness like I had my full-time job and then I was like, I don't want to do this. I was planning to become a mom and I was like, what can I do where I'm not sitting at a desk job
Yeah.
or driving for hours and being home at 9 p.m. Like you can't be a mom coming home at 9 p.m.
It's really hard.
Like it's really,
It's very
really, really hard.
Mhm.
So I went into I feel like I started following you and I'm like, I can do this.
Oh, I love
I can
that.
do it. And I went into the fitness world and Instagram is where I got all my clients.
Yeah.
And I tried to be an influencer, not so good at it.
It's
but
harder
I
than
remember
people think.
it's never now. And I remember sitting there being like to my husband, I'm like, we have to film like us cooking. And he's like, Amanda, like I'm not sitting with you while you film us cooking. And those were the ones that like blew up and they're like, send us your recipes. I was like, it's literally just eggs, but like, sure, I'm going to send it to you. But it's so funny how like that was all new when I started that. And now seeing where we are and even in this whole world, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what social media can do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Changes the game.
It's
It
always
changes
the-
the game completely.
Speaking of social media, I think that's like one of the first things we wanted to ask you about because you became a mom sort of before the social media era. Like, what resources did you turn to back then that like, or do you wish that you had available
Yeah.
to you? Because now it's different.
It's so different. So I became a mom in the Pinterest perfect social media era.
Right.
So I knew I was having a girl and I was saving photos of like really curated, aesthetically pleasing homes with the baby and the like beautiful, what's it called? The DocuTot with the matching, like the
Yeah.
like
I
the
know
really
exactly
like
what
neutral
you're saying.
vibes,
Yeah.
like the gorgeous house and the gorgeous big bow thing, like it was like, okay, I'm so excited to like curate my perfect life on social media. Again, like videos wasn't really a thing. And so my resources were like Pinterest perfect and like aesthetically pleasing, perfect feeds, everything matching. Not really, and it was like what to expect when you're expecting, right? Like the really basic
Right.
resources. So when I came home and I brought home like a healthy baby after like an okay delivery with help and support and was in full-blown panic attack mode, struggling in pain, I thought that there was something wrong with me.
Right.
Because I'm like, what did I do? What's going on that I'm freaking out? I'm literally having an anxiety attack. I can't sit down. I am so sore. This recovery feels like the worst thing in the world. Like, why is no one talking about it? So I was like, okay, I have one of two choices. I'm either going to delete social media or I'm going to share everything because I could not show up in any other way. I was really struggling.
Wow.
And it changed my life because it opened me up to a whole world of we see you, we hear you, we are you. Thank you for sharing these things because
1,000%.
you're the first person to ever share it. I wrote a whole blog post that like I know is still shared to this day, which is cool, about the fourth trimester. I had never even heard of that.
I love that.
I know.
You read that one? Like I'd never even heard of the fourth trimester. It's by far the hardest trimester.
Hardest, most real.
No one talked about it.
No,
everyone talks about it now. No one talked about it in 2019 when I brought Lily home from the hospital.
Everyone's like, how is your baby? How is the baby?
Yeah.
How was delivery? Sure. And okay, great. Can we come meet the baby?
Yeah.
Picture perfect baby. That was it.
Exactly.
That was it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
No one talked about it.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And that is why we're here.
Exactly.
We want to share everything.
Yes.
I feel like that's a big thing that everybody has, since we've started the podcast, have been like, oh my God, thank you for sharing that. Thank God you're talking about this. I had no idea what's next. And I'm like, you're so blind and nobody talks about it. You really feel like the world is run by men because nobody wants to hear about vaginas and bleeding.
I want to hear about it all.
Stitches and pain and anxiety and all that shit. And it's so common and all of it.
And you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like I really truly thought there was something wrong with me because I was in so much physical pain and mental pain.
And you didn't know.
And no one was talking to you about it.
I was like, what did I do wrong here?
And it's weird because like the doctors like see you so often when you're pregnant and then like the second you give birth, they're like, bye.
Yeah, I saw your podcast about like the phone call, the 6-week checkup phone call during COVID.
Can you imagine?
I had the same thing.
You had the same thing.
I had an episiotomy and they checked in on my episiotomy via the telephone.
Yeah. How are you doing? Okay, thank you. Let me check. I checked myself. I put a mirror down there. I was like, okay, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Adam's like, could we have sex now? I was like, I guess.
Sure. It's been 6 weeks.
It's been 6 weeks. That's what they said.
Yeah.
But no, the whole thing is crazy. I love that there's so many women now that are talking about it, that are posting about it, that are showing up every day. And this is my life. I love when you post and you're like, it's 5:45 in the morning and my kid's fucking up.
Yeah.
And I'm here and this is going to be my day. And this is life. It's not my kid's sleeping till 9 a.m. and life is perfect. And here's photos of them. And I hate
not
that.
real.
It's just not real.
No, I never had good sleepers.
No,
especially in the newborn phase. Never.
No, and it's hard. But I also I feel like there's so many influencers and moms that are out there being like, this is my perfect life. And everything is perfect.
No, it's not real.
I just spoke to a mom and I was like, how is having 3 kids, for example? And she's like, it's great. I'm like, that's it? It's great. I'm like, I have 2 and it's hard. And I'm like shitting my pants to have a third. One day I'm like, yes. One day I'm like, no. Yeah. And she's like, it's great. I'm like, okay. Well, all right.
I can't relate to you.
I can't relate to you at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Speaking of 3.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
You have 2. You have 2. I have 2.
Let's really dive into
this.
Are
you done at 2? Are you going to 3? Are you done at 2? Are you going to 3? Like, what's that decision-making process? I'm 2 months postpartum. So
you're
I'm
like,
I'm
about
the
it.
third.
We don't need to talk about it yet.
No, you are not in a position to talk about it.
I'm at 2 for now.
So
even though I do want 3.
I know. So I always wanted 2 kids. Always. I was like, even if it's 2 boys, 2 girls, boy and a girl, whatever, I wanted 2. My husband was like, 3, 3, 3. You're insane. 3, 3, 3. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, let's have 2.
He wanted 3.
He wanted 3.
Okay.
My kids are 16 months apart. Once that second one came out and we both had to go to the doctors together, he was like, I'm done. He was like, this is hard. I'm done. And was really like, this is hard. I was like, 16 months apart. It's 2 babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm like, I really want a third, but it's a whole other world. And we're kind of like, 3 changes everything.
Mhm.
2, you have one-on-one. Even one parent can handle 2 at the same time. 3 is pushing it. So I'm kind of like struggling. I don't know.
You're
I mean,
like
I
a
think
little
you're
ahead
so
of
young.
us.
Like you don't have to make the decision now. Your kids are so young, which I think is beautiful. Like you don't have to have a 16-month age difference.
No.
And you can decide later.
I
Like I
know.
think there's a really beauty in deciding later, especially if your husband is like open,
Right.
which is not my situation whatsoever.
Right.
So,
so-
what situation are you
So
Yeah,
in?
I
tell
come
us.
from 4 girls.
Oh my God.
My husband always says, like, I only ever wanted 2. He comes from 2 kids. When Sky, my second, was born, and I was in that first year postpartum with her, I really wanted 3. I think, like, when you're in the thick of it, like, what difference does it make?
Right.
Like,
I think that's what it is. You're like,
right?
I can do this again.
I
I'm
can
in
do
it.
this again. Like,
Right.
and I'm weird. Even though I didn't have great sleepers or like amazing eaters or easy newborns by any means, I actually really love the newborn phase. I don't love the 4th trimester. I don't like the physical pain, like the emotional pain, but I really love newborns. Like I
Yeah,
love
me too.
breastfeeding. I love the cuddles. I love the snuggles.
Yeah.
I love the smell.
It's
Like I actually
beautiful.
do
I love
love
the
babies.
smell,
And I
too.
was that person. I always loved babies. I'm finding toddlers and older kids like a lot harder.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Fucking ball
So the
game.
3 thing, I really wanted 3, and my husband was like, hard no, hard no, hard
Right.
no. And still, like I think this is something I share about a lot online, and it's opened up like a lot of really nice conversations because I
Yes.
feel like I've expressed what a lot of people haven't been able to express, which is that I have closure on the fact that I'm never going to have closure. I'm never
Yes.
going to be okay with the fact that I'm not having more kids, but I'm going to be okay with the fact that I'm not going to be okay with it. I'm
Right.
just
Right. I
deciding
like
to
that.
move on. And like, it's just,
It is what it
we
is.
like closure as humans. Like we like
Yes,
things, and we
100%.
don't like things open-ended. Like
No.
it gives it, we like to predict the future. We like to control things. And this is something where I'm choosing my marriage. I'm choosing and also I want to say, like, if I really deep down wanted 3, I think I could make a case for it. Like
Yes,
I know there's a
yes,
lot of
yes.
wives and partners that have said, like, have, either run the partner to the ground or like really just said, like, I'm sticking my ground here. Like if I
Right.
really, really, truly wanted a 3rd, I think I could make a case for it. But I think I don't actually. I think I'm like, I love our little unit of 4.
Yeah.
I love our life. I love our healthy, God willing, like family.
Yes.
And I see it getting easier. Like my kids.
Yes. You're now
Yesterday-
past
You're
yesterday-
that.
past the.
Yeah, like I don't have kids in diapers anymore, which is like, it makes me sad. I'm not gonna
Yes,
lie.
I know.
It really makes me sad.
It's
to
the
talk
end
about.
of that
That's the
era.
end.
I am.
that
Like I
season.
browse the baby aisle and I'm sad that I don't need anything in it.
I
We're gonna get
know.
rid of Sky's crib soon. I will be a fucking mess.
When the crib is gone.
I will be a fucking mess when that crib is gone. Like
Yeah.
I mourn the baby stage every day, but I don't think I ever won't.
Right.
Right? Like even when I have teenagers, I think it's not that I want like a new baby. I want to be able to revisit those moments when
That's
my
what
kids
it
were
is.
babies.
That's exactly. That's
I
where
agree.
my
I
head's at. I'm
agree.
like, do I want a 3rd baby or do I want my babies to
Yeah.
still be babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think for you guys, like you don't have to decide now, and I think
I
that's like so nice.
know,
Of
I
course,
know.
like you want to know, right? It's
I wanna
control. I
know.
want to know what my future holds, but like
That's what it is. That's what
You'll
I
it
think
is.
okay
it's
either
hard
way.
I
now that I'm going
know.
through it to be like, could this be the last
yeah,
breastfeed?
And I
Could
didn't-
this be the last baby? If it's the
That's what
last
it is.
one, then I better like eat them all
Mhm.
up and enjoy it all because then if
Mhm.
it's done, then it's done.
yeah,
And like I'm in the 2-3 camp, my husband's in the 2 camp,
Mhm.
and it's like it's hard to convince them. And
I
you're
know.
like, should I stick with 2 and then I can start my life and then we can start traveling
It's a
more
whole
and
other
doing
world.
stuff
It
because like
is.
right now like
Yeah.
we're really tied to like
Yeah.
the baby stage and like it's not easy to leave versus if you have a 3 and a 5-year-old like
Mhm.
you can
I know it's
you know,
weird.
go to Costa Rica and put them both in surf lessons. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a 2-month-old in
Not-
surf.
yeah.
That's
Maybe
not
true.
the way. That was
That's
the
what
trip
you're
I was
gonna do.
going
Sorry,
on.
they're 3 and 5, not 13 and
Yeah.
15.
You know what? That's so
I'm
true.
crazy.
That's so true. That's so
But
true.
no, it's hard. It's hard to like,
Yeah.
and then you're like, should I? I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough.
I
to decide.
think that's where I'm at because I didn't enjoy. I think I did it so fast that
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy the second
Yeah.
time. I was like, okay, I just did this. So like moving on, I would hand him over
100%.
to whoever wanted him,
Mhm.
and I didn't enjoy
Mhm.
that baby moment. So I
Yeah.
think that's where my head's spinning. I'm like, okay, I had it with my first, but then the second I kind of was like, you take him
You
because
had
I
two
was
babies.
exhausted.
You had 2 babies.
Yeah,
I
you
had
had
2
two
babies.
babies.
Mhm.
But I
That's
guess we'll
really
see.
close
Time
together.
will tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell,
Yeah.
and we'll find out.
I know. Right now, I think you will get pregnant this year. That's
Ooh,
my,
I don't-
that's
I-
my
That's the
prediction.
prediction.
I don't think it's this year at all. Maybe
And I'll come
when
visit
Ace-
your newborns. I'm like,
Yes.
everyone just have more babies so I can just
And-
not sniff
and-
them and then give them back.
And that's so funny you said that because all my friends who have newborns, I like go over, I play with them. I'm like, get me out of here. like this was like really nice, but then like I can go and like
Yeah.
it's not a newborn and I'm not sitting with them all day, and it's a big thing.
It's a big decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know.
it really is. It's like, to me,
I think everything changes with 3. Well, you come from 4, so
Come
you
from
would
4.
know.
There's like, it's funny. There's still this, like, I know we're done. And like, we talk about him getting a vasectomy now. And I'm like, yeah, get it. And then I'm like, wait, we don't actually book it. But it's like, I know we're done. But it's like, it's
Right.
almost this, okay, but like, don't actually get, and I have to fix I have like a hernia that I need to fix.
Right.
And like, I know I didn't want to fix it until I knew I was for sure
For
done
sure.
having
Right.
kids. So like, those seem just so finite that I'm like, maybe don't
it's
get
like actually
like I know
done.
we're done, but like don't actually get the vasectomy yet, or like just do it, get it over, so I can just cry about it and move on.
And that's what I told Adam.
But
Was
I
that
feel
not
like
what I told him?
I feel like the boys just they can't handle it. I don't
Oh,
know
they can
why.
handle
They
it.
can
A lot
handle
of
it.
friends.
Sorry,
No,
whose
no,
husbands
the
did it.
vasectomy. I mean, they can't handle multiple. Like they're like over the 3 kids.
oh, 3
Yeah.
kids, yeah.
Like they
I
can't.
thought you
They're
meant
like
the vasectomy.
no. Well, that
Mine wants to golf, so
Yeah,
that's where we're
when
at.
I was on the phone with my best friend the other day, and I said, okay, when he gets a vasectomy, I'm gonna go, okay, go upstairs and lie down. I'm gonna come upstairs with a fucking wrench, and I'm gonna clamp your nipples every 2 minutes, and I'm going to wake you up after you fall asleep every 5 minutes, so
is
you can
postpartum.
so you can
Understand.
experience the 4th trimester. So please go get your ball snipped so
Yeah.
I can go clamp your fucking nipples
Literally.
and wake you up every 5 minutes, just so you could sort of experience what we've gone through.
I'm gonna do that too.
They-
That's genius.
because they have that thing that you can like pretend to give the guy
The
cramps.
Did you ever
Yeah, the
see
cramp-
that?
yeah,
the
yeah,
coochie
yeah.
contraction,
They can't.
and they're like
They can't.
on like level 2, and they're like stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it goes to like level 10,
Yeah.
11, 12.
They'll never
like,
get it, and that's why
never.
women give birth.
Exactly.
That is, I'm just gonna
Amen.
leave it as
I
that.
love your idea. That's like when they get sick and they're like, the
Mm-hmm.
whole world is over, and you're like sick with 2 babies on your hips, and you're like, just going.
No,
And my
you
husband's
don't
like,
get a
you
sick
should
day.
rest. I'm like, I can't rest.
No.
You have to work
No.
harder
Yeah.
for me to rest.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my god.
did you wait? I want to talk about your deliveries. Did you
Yeah.
have epidurals, or
Oh,
did
yeah.
you do both?
I am the most squeamish person in the world. Like, I can't get a blood test without fainting. First pap smear, second pap smear, I fainted every time. Like,
Wow. So you
very,
needed
very
it.
squeamish. So my birth plan was like, do what you got to do, but don't tell me, to the point that like, if I need an episiotomy, like, don't say that word.
Just
like,
do
I'm,
it.
like,
Just do
I'm
it.
Like, la 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 was my birth plan.
Right.
But I wanted an epidural, and I was 8 days overdue with Lily.
Oh,
Wow.
I know, it was
Good
rough.
for you.
It was rough.
oh my god!
And she wasn't, I was walking around for 2 weeks, 4 centimeters dilated, walking at Yorkdale with like this, what I felt like was she was falling out.
Yes.
She wasn't
I know
anywhere
that
close
feeling. The head is
because-
in your vagina.
Yeah. But apparently it wasn't, because they had to break my water. They had to induce. I begged them to induce me. And they're
Right.
like, it's your first kid. Like, you're only 8 days overdue. I would-
Right.
Only-
8 days
remember I
overdue.
told you when
your
I-
girl said that too.
when I went to term with Benny, and she was like, I'll book a induction 10 days after my due date. So
Yeah,
8 days
yeah.
is
That's
early.
No, it's not. Like, they
I
would
don't
have
know.
probably let me go. I mean, she was healthy. Like, her
How
heart
many
rate wasn't dropping.
pounds was she?
She was tiny.
Oh,
For being 41
Right.
and 1, she was only 6 pounds 7 ounces.
oh, that's
So
small.
They wanted
Yeah.
to keep her in as long.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
keep her in. You're
Totally.
healthy. She's healthy. But I was in so much pain. I had
Yeah,
like
no,
this
it's
like
miserable.
weird nerve thing with my
Ugh.
rib, and I was like, it's so painful at the end.
No, the
It's
end is
41
brutal.
weeks.
It's so painful. I was so ready. I was so excited to meet her. So with her, my like birth plan was like, give me an epidural and then break my water. Like, give me an
Yeah,
epidural,
yeah,
then
yeah.
induce me. So
Right.
they did. So they gave me an epidural.
So you were
Then
fine.
they induced me. Well, how much do you want to know? Then they induced me, and then they started with the Pitocin.
Yes.
And like, I was definitely starting to feel the contractions, and then I pushed for 2 hours, and at the 2-hour mark, they were like, okay, like, we're gonna bring in. It was the hardest workout of my life.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring in
Yes.
the
Literally.
We're gonna bring in like the
Literally.
forceps, but just you have like one more chance. So I pushed, and like, she came out, but they had to do an episiotomy.
Right.
So I remember them being like, kind of like whispering, because that was my birth plan. Like, don't tell
Don't
her
tell
about
me
the
what you're
episiotomy.
doing.
So I was like, what's happening? What's happening? I was so exhausted, like 2 hours of pushing. And then my epidural was like completely worn off by then. So I felt it. So I started
No.
screaming.
No.
And then they gave me
Oh.
like a needle to freeze me. And
Fuck
then they like
off.
finished it all up. So like, it was, all things went fine, but like, it wasn't an easy delivery by any
No,
means. It was really,
no.
I found it like really traumatic.
I
like,
think
yes.
it is traumatic. Like, I think like anything
Any
to
birth is
do with
traumatic.
like
Any birth
with
is
cutting
traumatic.
you open.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if episiotomy now they're doing more episiotomies. I
Yes.
find because like
Yeah.
I remember they like stopped it because they
Right.
wanted you to tear naturally. And now I know so many people that
I had
got
two.
it.
I had another one with Sky which was actually like a much lovelier delivery. My water-ish broke. They had to like break it and do really similar to Lily, but I only pushed 3 times.
Wow.
And then they were like, your scar tissue where your episiotomy was isn't going to stretch.
because they did it so.
I guess, I don't know. They're like, we're going to give you another episiotomy.
in the
And
same spot.
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
really know. It's like, I'm like faint.
You're like,
on.
I'm not gonna look.
I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look.
But so they did. So I only pushed 3 times. It was 5 minutes. So it was a much more pleasant experience. I mean, I still
Right.
had the recovery of the episiotomy. But
Yeah,
it was like
yeah,
so much
yeah.
more pleasant than 2 hours of pushing.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
And
Is
then
it
Sky was
PZ
even smaller. She was 6 pounds, 2 ounces.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, we don't know that. We have big
I love
babies.
labor, so I'm a whole
But
other
wait, is it a
basket
PZ?
weird ass
Yeah,
with
she's
that.
nuts.
I I pulled out my kids.
No epidural?
I did the epidural
Yeah.
because I'm a fainter as well.
Yeah.
And I fainted when they put the epidural in. Like I'm a fainter.
I fainted when they put mine in too.
I was like, I'm going
I
down.
didn't
I
know
looked,
that's
yeah.
a thing.
I looked at my husband and I was like, I'm
I
going
think
down.
Josh almost fainted when they
a
put
lot of
mine
men
in.
have
Oh, yeah.
fainted from
sure.
that.
I mean,
as
I
well.
would.
I would
No,
too.
I-
If I was
yeah.
watching someone getting,
100%.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Labor was. I got
Labor's
lucky. I'm gonna
fucked.
say I got lucky, and I just went with it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
labor. I did one epidural, one knot.
Yeah,
the
you're
knot
a
was
basket
like
case.
On purpose?
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, on purpose.
Good for you.
It was nuts.
Mad
it was
respect.
actually fucking nuts.
Mad respect.
But
Would
I
you do it
didn't
again?
care.
Would you do it again?
Like she asked me
No,
that.
you said no. Just tell the
I
people what they
said-
want to hear. You said no.
I think maybe on the 3rd they would come flying out a little faster.
She said
Probably.
no.
I had
she's
a
getting
slow
that epidural.
labor. They had to break my water. Like
Even
it-
with no
yeah,
medication?
he was
Wow.
like really fucking
Yeah.
camping out in there.
But
I don't know what he was
You
doing.
do have an easier recovery, I hear,
Way
when you
easier.
have no medication.
I walked.
Yeah.
I walked. I
Yeah.
delivered. Walked to the bathroom. Peed. The
I
day
met the
everyone.
baby 6 hours after it was born.
3
Huh?
hours I was there.
Guys,
I went. I
okay.
slept in my bed that night.
Yeah. Would you
They
have a
don't-
home birth?
It was at the birth center.
Okay, so you got to
But they
go
wouldn't have
home
kept me at
and-
the hospital
Yeah.
either because I had a midwife.
Yeah.
I would recommend midwife again. But yeah, it was nuts. It was actually nuts. It was.
I
like,
would
out
love
of
that.
a
Sounds
movie.
lovely.
Right?
I mean, like other than the pain being
Yeah.
like fucking brutal.
No, I can't. I
It
can't.
was, and I was like pooing, and I knew I was pooing, and I could feel it
Yeah.
all, and I was just like,
Oh
this-
yeah, you could feel it all because with
you
an
could feel it
epidural, you
all.
can't.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you could feel
I
it all
felt
too.
no, I felt like the pushing and I felt the episiotomy, but with Sky, I used at the beginning I wasn't, but they were giving me Pitocin. So then it was like the contractions were so strong. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna give it to myself. And then same thing happened. I started crying. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to push. I was like such a textbook mom in the delivery room. Like, I'm not gonna be able to push. I had too much like epidural. Like I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
everyone says that.
Yes, I know, because you think you
'Cause you
can't
think you
feel
can't
it.
feel it,
You
yeah.
actually really can't feel it.
No, the only thing I felt with
You feel
epidural is
pressure,
pressure.
Yeah, you felt
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
You
That's
felt
it.
pressure, but
Yeah.
not
Not pain. Like,
no.
I don't mean like I'm in
No,
pain.
it's not pain.
What's the episiotomy recovery like? Like I've heard it's brutal.
I mean, I've never had a C-section, so like I feel like a C-section is probably
Yes,
a lot
okay, fine.
harder.
Right.
It's like major surgery, but like it's more like it's really hard to sit down. It's really hard to walk. I still even feel like my scar tissue sometimes around like when I'm ovulating and things like that. I
Right.
can like feel like these
Interesting.
throbs. It's weird. Yes,
Oh.
it's like kind of like achy, throbby,
Yeah.
Right.
stinging.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
I mean, it's not.
I guess like I had a couple stitches the first time, and it was like it was a lot of discomfort,
Sure.
and you have like
Yeah.
a lot of
yeah,
stitches.
that's what it
It's
is.
a lot of
It's a lot of
Is it just?
discomfort.
Is there extra tips that they tell you to do?
Yeah, like you do. I mean, you probably do if you have stitches anyways. You do like the sit bath,
Yeah.
Yes.
sitting on the donut, icing.
There's just all that stuff, but
All
on
the
steroids.
stuff, yeah.
Like you just have to do a lot more of it.
Yeah, there's like an
Interesting.
I think there's like an antibiotic spray or something.
Oh,
or
there you go.
cream, I think.
Okay.
Maybe not antibiotic, but like some sort of spray, I think, if I
Interesting.
remember correctly.
We'll
Yeah,
look
the
it up.
stitches down there is
Yeah.
just like, ugh.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, the-
No, like when you actually think
No.
about it. Yeah, of course.
So sorry. Okay, speaking
Okay.
of that, postpartum recovery. So I have
Yeah.
2 questions.
'Kay.
My first question is working out pre-kids, going into being pregnant, working out. I want to talk about that. And then I want to talk about after kids, all that jazz.
Yeah.
I want you to take it away.
Okay, so I was a trainer. I am
Yes,
still
yes.
a trainer with so pregnant with my first. I filmed an entire series of workout videos at like 39 weeks pregnant.
You're
I was like
nuts.
Good for you.
fit with
Good
Lil.
for
Like
you.
I really
Wow.
kept active. I felt relatively good in my whole
Good.
pregnancy, aside from like the pain at the end when you just like get so big and
Yes.
baby's sitting in weird positions. Literally, if you look at my pregnancy fitness videos on my app on Bounce Forward, I'm like very
Yes.
pregnant in
I
them.
feel like it's a myth that like you can't work out pregnant.
you-
like you can totally work out
It's
pregnant.
it's not that you can't. It's if
just have
like
to be
if the doctor,
careful.
if like you have obviously something like you
Of course,
can't
you
work
should
out, they'll tell you.
always first and foremost speak to your medical professional.
Yes.
Make sure that everything is okay, that you can continue to exercise.
Right.
If you're healthy enough and everything's okay for you,
Yes,
baby, to
that's
exercise,
right.
Fine.
being active is the healthiest thing you can possibly do.
100%.
The research has shown like the more active, the more like the better, right? Like it's just
100%.
so as long as you have clearance to
Right.
continue, you should be able to continue doing everything. Of course, there's certain things you want to modify.
Yeah.
When you're working out, you have a ton of intra-abdominal pressure as your uterus is
Yes,
growing,
right.
as the baby's putting pressure on them. So being in like a prone, which is like a facing down, tummy facing down position.
Right.
You want to like avoid certain positions like that for long periods of time. You want to avoid like crunching. You want to avoid twisting. You want to avoid lying on your back for long periods of time if that's uncomfortable for you. Like there's certain things to modify.
Right.
But overall, like you can continue running, you can continue jumping, you can continue spinning. Like
I know
really
the running
all
thing.
I know, but like you
What is
can.
running
Why
at
not?
the
I know,
Sure,
it's
you should.
wild.
It's
Not
amazing. Absolutely, you can continue.
Yeah.
Continue weightlifting.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
just really,
That's what I did. I did a lot of
Yeah.
weightlifting.
I've
with
read
it.
that like you want to keep up your
Yeah,
weight.
you wanna
because
keep
you want the
everything
muscle.
up.
Like you
Yeah.
need the muscle and you're
It's
gonna
healthy
lose
for
it
you.
so much.
It's healthy for you.
It's
Yeah, at a health,
I did it with
at a
both,
healthy
and
heart
it
rate.
was
Like, and you
amazing.
watch your heart rate. Also, most
Yes.
importantly.
Yeah, that's the one
Yes.
thing I heard.
You
It
want to be able to
goes up.
have like a
I
conversation.
was doing the Fitbit a lot the first time around, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit.
Or like I sometimes give the tip, like if you're on the treadmill, you want to be able to like sing along to whatever you're listening to, or
Yeah,
have
you
like
don't
a
wanna go-
breathy
Oh, that's
conversation.
smart.
That's
Yeah,
very
that's a
smart.
good
I'd be
tip.
like in treadmill classes, like singing along. I'm like, okay, I'm still at
You're
an
still
okay
okay.
pace. Yeah. So with Lily, I was like super active, and then getting back into it was a shock to the system because they say 6 weeks. 6 weeks is such
Bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
arbitrary. It means absolutely nothing. Everyone is different. Some
I
people
agree.
are even ready earlier.
Yes.
Weird. Not me. Not that person. Okay.
Yeah,
Second time I was
Sure.
ready like
Great.
week 1 because I was
Yeah.
like I had nothing in my system.
Yeah,
I wasn't like
that
in a
was the whole thing.
hangover.
Exactly.
The first time, yes.
Yeah. For me, I didn't start with both kids until 10 weeks.
There you go.
Postpartum. And
There
that
you
was
go.
with slow walks. And that's like a trainer, someone like very active, very fit, leading in my entire pregnancy, first pregnancy. Second pregnancy was different. I was very ill. I
Yeah.
threw up every
Oh.
single day until she was
Really?
born. I was so sick. And then I had
Wow.
a baby at home also. So
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's
it was
brutal.
really, really tough. But with both of them,
Yes.
regardless, my recovery, like getting back into it was so slow. I always say you have your whole life to exercise.
I
Let
agree.
yourself heal.
I agree.
Let
agree.
yourself heal.
I
Like
agree.
it's there's no rush.
No, there is no rush.
there's no rush.
You know what the rush is for everyone, and I'll speak for myself, is getting back to your previous body.
Yeah, the
I
bounce
don't
back.
think
Yeah, it takes a
for
long
sure for
time.
the health aspect. Like for me, it's the health aspect, but I feel like for many women,
Mm-hmm.
health comes second. I feel like they want to just bounce back to how they looked, and they're so uncomfortable in their skin
Yeah.
that they're like, if I start working out, that's it. Like I'm gonna get there.
I
Mhm.
literally,
I don't know. That's how I feel.
just got back from a trip to Bahamas and like I worked out for like 2 weeks, like leading up to it, like thinking like, oh, it's gonna make a difference. And then I was like, fuck it. I have a flabby tummy.
Like,
I had
enjoy
a baby
it
2 months
now.
ago. It is what it is. I'm just gonna like go with the flow. And then I'm like stressing about working out. And I'm like missing time with my baby because I'm like going to these stupid workout classes. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not doing this anymore.
And that's why we have Marlie here, because she
Exactly.
has her program that
There
she's
you
gonna
go.
talk
Well,
about.
that's what I started. I did your
Restore your core.
Yes, restore your core because I actually felt really good
Yeah.
early, and I
Yeah.
was like, I should be doing something.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, like, if I'm gonna get back into intense working out and I have a shitty weak core, I'm gonna fuck myself.
You're
I
totally
was like,
gonna
I
fuck
need to get the
yourself.
core back up to like par with the rest of my body,
Yeah.
and then I can.
And
start.
that takes a lot and a lot.
And
of
you have
time.
to like, and it's like the core exercises are like in theory boring because
I
you're
say
like,
that. I say that
I'm
on the
not
on the
doing,
app.
like,
it's
all
so
these, like-
tedious.
yeah,
You
it's
don't wanna
boring.
Do it. Who wants to
No.
do it? It's boring.
it's boring, and you don't feel like you're
Sleepy.
like working out necessarily.
No.
But like if you don't restore it,
Yeah.
you're gonna have weight. Like I had that
Diastase.
Thank
direct
you.
diet, Yeah.
bad. Like I
Yeah.
had like 3 fingers
Yeah,
in between. Like,
same.
you have to like.
Mhm.
Can you explain that?
And it's time. Sure.
Yes.
So it's essentially just the separation of the abdominal muscles at the linea alba, which is just this connective tissue
Right.
like running down your midline, essentially.
okay.
We know now that the actual separation, like how many fingers, how many deep, doesn't actually really matter because some
Oh,
people have like a wider
interesting.
gap, some people have a smaller, some people closer, some people don't. It's really just about the integrity of that connective tissue
Uh-huh.
and how like taut it gets or how bouncy it is, so that when again you're in these like plank positions or front facing positions and that pressure isn't able to like you're not really able to like connect the core muscles, right? Like to connect those deep core muscles to pull up and to breathe properly. It's like they're not functioning. They need to be
Right.
functioning well. So it's really not about like aesthetically, right? And people are obsessed
Yes,
a little bit about the gap,
obviously,
but like it's
yeah.
really just about how well are those deep core muscles functioning.
Right.
Not only so that you can plank, but so that you can have pain-free sex so that you can go to the bathroom so that you're not constipated, right? It's all like a function of our pelvic floor.
Right.
So
It's all connected.
it's all connected.
Everything.
and if you
And
don't
so-
heal that
Right.
properly, you're gonna have long-term issues.
Yeah, like there's things that are really normalized, like in urinary incontinence, for example, doing jumping
welcome to my
jacks.
life.
Like
It's not normal.
it's common, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be normal,
I-
right? Like we
I
normalize it's like, oh, I just sneezed, I peed myself. But there are things that you can do
Yes.
and by the way, it's never too late. If someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I had my kids, for whatever reason they're listening to this, they're like, I had my kids 20 years ago. Like you can still,
Yes.
Heal it.
practice and heal it and work on exercises and see I always say, number one, see a pelvic floor.
I agree with
physiotherapist.
your pelvic
Yeah.
floors.
Yes.
Because they're literally up in there
That's my
feeling
own-
it
Mhm.
and
They're
measuring
fisting
you.
you.
They're
Mhm.
fisting you. Like
Yeah.
I was like, it's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
So
and she's like
uncomfortable.
literally up there like,
Yeah. It's the worst.
Like,
I'm
No,
gonna
it's
do
the
it. I just
worst.
can't wrap my head around
It's
it. yet.
horrible. I'm so squeamish. Like I had a hard
it's
time
not
with it.
fun.
But
It's
you
not
also don't
fun.
need to do internal, like you can can
Right.
just do the breath
Right.
work and stuff. But again, back to Restore Your Core, which is a
Yes.
6-week program in the Bounce Forward app. It's boring work and it's sleepy. And I say that there's a video where I'm like, I get it. You want to just get back into it. You want to pick up your weights. But like if you just give yourself that time, like show your body some respect and
Yeah.
love. Like, come
Yes.
on, like remind yourself what you just went through. Allow
100%.
yourself to heal. There's intricacies that are healing inside of you that we don't see, and
100%.
we're
That's
only
what it
obsessed with
is.
what we see.
I know.
We are only
know.
obsessed with what we see,
It's
not what's
literally-
happening internally.
It's literally
Yeah,
like the
that's what it is.
iceberg
Mhm.
concept. Like
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
the
It's just
fucking
the
tip. You
tip.
don't see what's under
Yeah.
the hood. And also the Restore Your Core, I found that I could do it like with a hangout with my baby.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
So
Baby
it's
on the
like
mat.
not like a
Yeah.
full workout where you have to like go to the gym or whatever. Like he was like beside me chilling. Like I'm
Mhm.
playing with him. I'm doing it.
I love
It's
that.
like counted as like playtime, but like
Exactly.
I
help
love
yourself
that.
too.
Yeah, for those listening, it's like in the
Yeah.
app in our programs, it's a 6-week program. You can basically do it from day 0 if you're feeling
Yeah.
ready or later on. But essentially, it's to help you rebuild your core with exercise. There's 6 exercises videos. You do the same video a couple times a week. You move on to the next week, and it's
Yeah.
6 weeks of like foundational exercises to really just rebuild that strength. So you can then move on to the rest of the app, which is just on-demand workouts for busy moms, like workouts anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes that you can sort of pick and choose. You can follow a weekly schedule. But I started it because you're talking about this obsession with bounce back.
Yes.
And especially when I had my first, like that's all I knew, right? It was how
Yeah.
fast did so-and-so person, like Jennifer Aniston on the
That's
cover of
what
House
it
Mag.
is.
Oh, sorry, she never had a kid, but like,
Yeah.
sorry, Gwyneth Paltrow. And I don't know why I always think of Jennifer Aniston, like she never had kids. Gwyneth Paltrow, like
Right.
zip up her jeans after the hospital. Or
I
Kate
don't get
Hudson.
that.
Like that's
They walk
all,
out perfect.
but
Doesn't
they
make any
don't,
sense.
They
and that's
don't.
all we know. It's
I know.
impossible. I was shocked that I still looked pregnant weeks
Same.
after.
Yeah.
I loved your reel that you did
Yeah.
showing like how you still
look
look pregnant.
pregnant.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
was-
wait, is this normal? Like, why do I look
Right.
pregnant? Because no one talked about it. No
No
one showed
one.
it. The more women that go out and show what their
Yeah.
bellies look like and what their bodies look like and continue to look like,
100%.
it's this idea of bounce back is like, it's bullshit. Because
It's
you're
bullshit.
never
I
going
agree.
back.
You're never
No.
going back.
It doesn't
even,
matter.
you.
Even if you could get
That's
you
the
could
whole
get
thing.
like visibly fitter and stronger than you've ever been, but you're still never going to be the same.
No.
You're
Never,
not the same
ever, ever.
person.
You're not the same person. I'm
No.
so with you on
Yeah,
that.
and like your values aren't the same. Your time's not the same. Your priorities are not the same. You're not going
You've
back.
changed.
So
No.
enough. We're
That's
going
it.
forward.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
what
it.
it is.
I love it.
Bounce
Isn't that how the
forward.
name
Forward.
came?
Bounce
I was going to say,
forward.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I love
Our
that.
motto,
love
screw
that.
that. Or we say, don't look back, mama. You're not going that way.
No,
No.
you're not.
If you went back, you wouldn't have your kids.
No,
Yes.
I agree. You're a different person.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
that like we just actually aired an episode today about like who you are as mom,
Mm-hmm.
and like you really shed that old version of yourself to make room for this new version of yourself that like
It's a whole
you're,
new change.
you're
Mhm.
a mom now, and you
Yeah.
have to live in that role and that and like yeah, you should own the skin you're in and like
Yeah.
who you are now and all the
we are moms now.
yeah.
We are mothers.
We are moms.
We are
We are
moms.
mothers.
Okay, so Amanda, you got your first mom hater on Instagram.
I got my first mom hater.
You got called
I heard
out.
that means we made
You've
it.
made it.
We've officially made
Congratulations,
it.
you have
Thank
made
you.
it.
Applause to us.
Have you dealt with any hate since starting your account?
Oh my God.
For sure, right?
I want to talk about it. Let's
Yeah,
talk
like,
about
what
mom
is
hate
so,
on
oh my God, the
Instagram.
mom trolls are the worst kind of trolls.
Which is
Yeah,
really
they're
upsetting.
relentless.
It's so
Actually, I want to
upsetting.
talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
very upsetting
It is
to
upsetting.
hear that.
Yeah, it is because it's like you're a bully.
You're a
And
bully.
you
You're a
started
bully.
this community to like lift people
Yeah.
up, help each
Yeah.
other, support each other, and then
Yeah.
it's like getting shit on.
I
by
feel like I
other
never
people.
really, truthfully, I feel like I never really got hate on social media until I became a mom.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what? People are just judging like
It's,
how
it's,
you
I
mom?
think it's a lot of projection, right?
Right.
People are
100%.
feeling insecure about themselves, or
Right.
like you're triggering them. So like it's a lot of projection. It's a lot of judgment.
Yeah.
Which is so upsetting, right?
I
Because at the end of the
know.
day, like we're all moms. We think and we hope it'd be like mom supporting moms, but like
Yes.
the mom trolls are out for blood on Instagram.
Can you give us an example of like
oh my
what
gosh.
you got?
Okay, so here's an example. Like I'll occasionally get the message about maybe like you're or not a message. I have tried to like show the realness and like
Yes.
what it's like
Yes.
to really be
Yes.
to really, just like day-to-day life. And because that's what people want. You hear
Yes.
all the time, like no one wants, like, for example, I unfollowed a ton of people when I brought Lily home from the hospital because it was like that Pinterest perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'm not
add value to your
interested in the
life. No.
people that I was so triggered by moms having like peaceful, beautiful mornings, drinking their coffees with newborns. Like it was actually really triggering for me because I was here as having like daily panic attacks.
Right.
And I was like, like why is everyone okay? Like what's wrong with me?
Right.
And I would just unfollow. So I then tried to sort of flip the script and show like all the moments. So there'd be moments where like my daughter's crying and I'm like in the car and they're like some sort of moment where like they're just like freaking out and like don't want to get out of their car seat or whatever. And I'll film that.
That's what I was gonna say. And you're filming
And I'm filming it and they're like, what about the child? The child is crying. Like pick
Right.
up the baby. Oh
like
my
you're
gosh.
such a bad mom.
Such a
Why are
bad
you
mom.
filming?
Put down your phone and pick up the baby. And then it's like,
Wow.
sweetie, this baby's crying like 24/7. Okay?
Exactly.
Like they're gonna be okay because it might make you uncomfortable seeing that. You might be thinking I'm neglecting my kid, but
Right.
like really, you're seeing 1 second of my life, and what I'm doing is actually making 100,000 moms feel so normal.
Right. You're
That's phenomenal.
validating
You're
their
validating,
lives.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my
So
God.
like, there's a lot of hate on that. The nanny.
Right.
Almost every single negative comment I have brings in my nanny in some way, shape, or form.
Aw.
Really?
It's like, why don't you go cry about it with your nanny? Everything is always hating on the nanny. But
Wow.
for me, when I decided to get help and
Yes.
have a full-time nanny, I shared that entire experience from start to finish on Instagram because one thing that I don't know if you do this too is like anytime I saw another mom like sharing something and their kid wasn't involved, I'd be like, where's the kid?
Yeah.
And not out
right.
of judgment, but out of confusion as to how are they able to do this right now?
Right.
How are they at an event? How are they out shopping? How are they at lunch? Like, where's the baby? It was always something I thought like, where's the baby? Where's the baby? I got help when Lily was 18 months old. So for the first 18 months, I was trying to work and,
Right.
do
Mom
it all.
life. Yeah,
it was really
impossible.
challenging. And then the pandemic, I mean, it was during the pandemic. She was 9 months when the pandemic
Oh
hit,
my-
which is so crazy. 'cause
So
she's
crazy.
5 now.
I know. It's so crazy.
But
Wild.
that was always something. So I was like, I really wanted to be cognizant of explaining the help that I have.
Right. Smart.
Because I never want to give the impression that I'm doing this by myself. It's not accurate and it makes people feel like shit.
I love
Right.
that.
So
It's
I'm
so
always
true.
open about the nanny. I talked about from
Right.
hiring to what it felt like to start to
Smart.
just like always
I
sharing
love
about
that.
it. But that has brought up a lot of hate. Like,
Right.
and it always just somehow comes back to my nanny. It'll be like
Right.
something so unrelated, and it'll be like, "Well, you and your nanny."
So unfollow you.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
if that's not what you
Yeah.
want to see, and
Yeah.
like that's fair. Like if
Yeah.
you don't want to follow, if you don't want to see what I'm doing, just unfollow
Yeah.
me. But like to go out of your
It
way
makes
and
no
like make it
sense.
into something, like get
it's
a life.
ridiculous.
No.
Get
I
a
know.
life. What did our moms used to say? If you have nothing nice to say, don't
Don't say
fucking
anything.
say it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Don't
I
fucking
agree.
say it.
I agree. And I also think people, like you said, with the projection thing, like people like don't want to get a nanny because they want to do it all themselves, right? And they like feel
Listen, there's a ton of privilege in having a nanny. Like
100%.
It's a very even when I was just talking about deciding between daycare and a nanny, I always felt the need to preface it with I know I'm privileged to be able to make
100%.
a decision like
Yes,
this. Not
100%.
a lot of people aren't.
No,
No,
many,
So-
many people can't.
Exactly. So like I'm acknowledging it. I can't apologize for it, but I will acknowledge it. And then it's
100%.
like they always just come back to it's just a place of
But I think like
I know.
I think also like some women like feel like if you don't do it all yourself, then like you're a failure. Like I
That's
have
what it
friends
is.
like that.
That's
They're
probably
like,
what it is.
I don't, out of like principle, I'm not
Mhm.
getting a nanny and I'm gonna do it all myself. And I'm like, but then you're also miserable.
And who are you trying to
like-
prove this to? The world?
Like, albeit, yes,
That's
if you
what it
can't,
is. You're not helping
right.
yourself. You're just
And
trying
it-
to prove a point.
And if it's not available to you or you have to do daycare instead, like, okay, that's like, sometimes it's decided for you. But like, I don't understand people that like want to die on the sword for it. I'm like, get help. If you can
If you can
any kind of
afford
help,
it.
you should get help because it makes you a better version of yourself too.
I just
right?
like to be really present in like what I'm doing and give everything my all in my life. So whether it's work or being a mom, like I don't want to feel like I'm spreading myself thin and
right.
posting content when my kids are there and not paying attention to them, or vice versa, trying to work, trying to be in a meeting. And like it does happen from time to time where
Right.
the girls
Yeah.
hop on and it's really disruptive. But like I really take pride in my work and my work ethic, and I take pride in my parenthood and my motherhood. And like I don't want to, and it's, of course, there's days where you have to try and do both. It's also a reason
Yes.
why, part of the reason why I took my kids off social media, their faces off, and like started sharing less of them. But like, 'cause I don't
Smart.
want to spread myself thin.
Yeah.
I
Right.
want to be able to give everything I'm doing my all, and that requires some sort of childcare.
Right.
I have a
Yes.
full-time job, even though it might not look like it online.
No,
like,
right.
for
what I
sure.
do, like running my business and being a creator, is a full-time
100%.
job.
It's a lot
Oh,
of
it
work.
is a lot.
It's a lot of
I'm
work.
learning
No,
that now.
Exactly.
It's a lot of work.
You can't do it all.
A lot of work.
And there's
a
some,
lot of
listen,
work.
I follow some incredible moms of like multiple kids that do it themselves, and I have major kudos.
that's
major
my favorite
kudos.
word. Major. I
I know.
agree.
I know.
I have
I'm-
some girlfriends that do it all themselves. No, you are superwoman.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's how I
Literally.
Yeah.
truly feel.
I agree. And they say like being a stay-at-home mom is actually like 3 times the workload and
I
hours
agree
of like a real
1000%.
job.
Oh yeah.
Like they're working like 90 hours a week. They have like horrible
There's no break.
bosses. They have demanding,
Yeah.
changing demands
And
every
there's
2
no break.
seconds.
Yeah.
There's no breaks. There's no vacation
pay is
days.
shit.
The pay is shit. Like
The pay is real shit.
Literal shit.
Literal shit.
Literal
Yeah.
shit. Here you go.
well, I think
That was great.
yeah, we wanted a real mom
You got a real
mom influencer.
Mom influencer. And we're so glad it was you.
Thank you.
This was
I'm so
amazing.
honored.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
and
We'll see you next week. Thank you again, Marlie,
Bye.
for joining us from Kale and Crunches.
follow her account if you don't already.
Yeah.
And join her Bounce Forward if you haven't already.
Jessie has a lot to say today, so I'm going to end it off here.
Okay.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.